Jungkook is not a star who can be replaced by another idol on the roster. He is the axis on which multiple industries turn: music, fashion, luxury branding, and cultural influence. He is the one who can release a single and turn the global charts upside down. He is also the one who can wear a single item of clothing, and within hours, that product sells out worldwide. For a brand, Jungkook is more than a celebrity endorsement. He is a financial weapon, a marketing goldmine, and a cultural icon who pulls entire generations into his orbit. If a global brand manages to pull Jungkook completely away from HYBE's influence, it wouldn't just be a simple business loss. It would be a dismantling of HYBE's most powerful asset. That is why HYBE views this situation as a battle for survival. This famous brand, already a giant in its own industry, has understood something that HYBE itself sometimes takes for granted. Jungkook is not just another face in a campaign. He is the campaign. His name carries a magnetic force that no other star in K-pop or even global pop can match right now. The brand knows that attaching Jungkook to their logo would shift cultural power instantly in their favor. This isn't just about profit margins, it's about dominance, and HYBE knows it. That realization alone forced HYBE to scramble. For years, the company has enjoyed the benefits of Jungkook's steady loyalty, even when brands lined up endlessly with offers. Jungkook's official partnerships were carefully filtered through HYBE's management. That control allowed HYBE to keep the narrative tight. Jungkook wasn't just endorsing things, he was shaping trends under HYBE's careful storytelling. But now, with this brand pushing aggressively, HYBE is being forced into a position it hates defense. The emergency plan began with contracts. HYBE has already drawn up exclusive deals designed to limit Jungkook's exposure to outside competitors. These contracts are not just about money, they are about ownership of influence. By locking Jungkook into long-term agreements, HYBE believes it can prevent him from slipping into the grasp of a rival. But contracts alone won't be enough. Everyone knows Jungkook is powerful enough to renegotiate, and no piece of paper can fully hold back the pull of a brand that can offer him something more than HYBE ever could: independence and a new identity separate from the BTS system. And that is HYBE's biggest fear. Jungkook stepping outside the structure of BTS and HYBE would signal not just a career move but a shift of global power. The brand courting him knows this. That's why their strategies have not been subtle. They are throwing out numbers, opportunities, and promises that even HYBE struggles to match. The offers are astronomical, not just in terms of financial rewards, but in the chance for Jungkook to stand as the face of a brand without HYBE's shadow. This fear has led HYBE to consider drastic moves. One part of their emergency plan involves keeping Jungkook tied to large-scale projects that only HYBE can provide. Massive music collaborations, international tours, and global campaigns are being drafted not because the timing is right, but because HYBE knows it has to keep him busy. Idle time is dangerous. Free space allows negotiations to creep in, and this brand is waiting for any moment of hesitation. By keeping Jungkook at the center of non-stop global activity, HYBE believes it can shield him from being swayed by the promises waiting outside. But even as these strategies roll out, one truth cannot be ignored. Jungkook is not simply HYBE's property. He is a human being with ambition, curiosity, and dreams that stretch beyond the framework of his current career. The more HYBE tries to tighten its grip, the more obvious it becomes that Jungkook may one day want to explore what lies beyond. That possibility alone terrifies HYBE executives, because unlike other artists who might fade if they step away, Jungkook would only grow stronger. His fan base is too massive, too loyal, and too global to let him disappear. If he walked away tomorrow, he would still dominate every stage he touched. That power means that HYBE's emergency plan is less about keeping him happy and more about keeping him contained. The irony in all of this is clear. HYBE's greatest achievement is also its greatest vulnerability. Jungkook built HYBE's global image with his voice, his artistry, and his undeniable charisma. But now, the very success they nurtured has created a figure who is bigger than the system itself. And the famous brand circling him has realized what HYBE fears the most, that Jungkook no longer needs the company as much as the company needs him. The emotional weight of this situation comes from knowing how much Jungkook has given to HYBE and how much he deserves the freedom to choose what is next. Fans who watch this unfold are torn between wanting him to stay where he is safe and wanting him to step into a new world where he can expand without limits. And HYBE knows that fan loyalty is not blind. If the company is seen as restricting him too much, it risks turning the public sentiment against itself. That's why their emergency plan must walk a careful line. They cannot appear to be trapping him, but they cannot risk letting him go either. In the end, this is not just a story about a company protecting its asset. It is a story about a young man who has grown into one of the most influential cultural forces in the world, and the struggle of a corporation that knows losing him would mean losing its crown jewel. HYBE's emergency plan is not just paperwork, contracts, or schedules. It is a battle for control over the future. And in the center of it all is Jungkook, the one person powerful enough to redefine the balance between artist and company, between individual freedom and corporate power, between loyalty and independence. HYBE is preparing for war, but the truth is, the war has already begun. The brand is moving, the offers are coming, and Jungkook holds all the power in his hands. Whether HYBE's emergency plan succeeds or not depends on one question they can't control. What does Jungkook truly want? The whispers about a famous global brand approaching Jungkook were never going to remain whispers for long. In today's world, where every move is documented and magnified by fans, industry insiders, and media outlets, even the smallest rumor can turn into a firestorm. And with Jungkook, nothing ever stays small. Every appearance, every outfit, every offhand mention becomes headline news. So when talks began about a major brand making an aggressive play for him, HYBE immediately understood the scale of the threat. This wasn't just any brand. It was a titan, a household name recognized across continents, a leader in both fashion and cultural dominance. A brand that doesn't simply want endorsers, it wants faces that redefine the brand itself. And the moment their executives looked at Jungkook, they knew they had found someone who could do exactly that. Jungkook, with his global reach and ability to collapse cultural boundaries, represented something that money alone could not buy. Authenticity that resonates on a global level. HYBE's panic stems from the reality that no amount of corporate branding can recreate Jungkook's natural pull. When Jungkook wears something, he doesn't look like an advertisement. He looks like the standard, the new definition of cool, the baseline of what everyone else wants to achieve. That is, a quality brands spend billions trying to simulate. And this particular brand realized it could bypass years of effort by simply making Jungkook their centerpiece. For HYBE, the danger is clear. If Jungkook were to align himself exclusively with this brand, HYBE would lose more than just a partnership. They would lose control of the narrative. Jungkook would no longer be a star shining within the framework of HYBE's empire. He would be a cultural force shining on his own terms, powered by a brand with no obligation to share the spotlight with HYBE. That loss of control is what terrifies the company most. The famous brand's approach has not been subtle. They have reportedly dangled contracts that dwarf even the most generous offers in the industry. But more importantly, they have promised Jungkook something HYBE cannot guarantee: freedom of identity. Under HYBE, every move Jungkook makes is tied, directly or indirectly, to the BTS name and to the company's broader strategy. His fashion choices, his endorsements, even his solo activities are woven into HYBE's carefully orchestrated system. But the brand is offering him an escape from that web. They are offering him the chance to be Jungkook, not Jungkook of HYBE, not Jungkook of BTS, just Jungkook. That offer strikes at the heart of HYBE's worst nightmare. For years, the company has thrived by managing the image of its artists, keeping them within a structure that ensures consistency and control. But Jungkook's global rise has made that model unstable. He is no longer a star who needs HYBE to define him. HYBE now needs him to stay relevant. The balance of power has shifted, and the brand courting him knows exactly how to exploit it. This is why HYBE's emergency plan has entered a new phase: damage control. The company has begun flooding the media with narratives that remind the public of Jungkook's connection to BTS and to HYBE. Every press release, every campaign rollout, every event emphasizes that Jungkook is still firmly within the HYBE system. They are reinforcing his identity as part of their family, hoping that public perception will discourage him from stepping out. But the more they push this narrative, the more obvious it becomes that they are trying to cover up a vulnerability. Behind closed doors, executives are debating more drastic measures. One option being discussed is the creation of a new global division centered entirely around Jungkook, designed to give him more autonomy while technically keeping him under HYBE's umbrella. The idea is simple. If Jungkook wants freedom, give him a version of it that doesn't actually let him leave. This plan would create the illusion of independence while ensuring that HYBE still benefits from his every move. But whether Jungkook would accept such a compromise remains uncertain. The brand's strategy, meanwhile, has been relentless. They have been using cultural positioning to increase the pressure. Collaborations with artists Jungkook admires, public campaigns that mirror his style, even subtle references that align with his image. All of these are calculated moves designed to make him feel as though the brand is already part of his identity. It's not just about offering him contracts, it's about making him feel that choosing them is inevitable, almost natural. HYBE recognizes this tactic, and it terrifies them. They know that once Jungkook begins to internalize the idea that this brand represents his authentic self, no amount of contracts or obligations will hold him back. Influence is stronger than paperwork. Emotional connection is stronger than corporate strategy. That's why HYBE's emergency plan has shifted from purely contractual defense to psychological warfare. They are now working to remind Jungkook of everything HYBE has given him, everything he has built under their roof, and everything he stands to lose if he walks away. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Jungkook doesn't stand to lose much at all. His fanbase is not loyal to HYBE, it is loyal to him. His talent, charisma, and work ethic are not products of the company, they are his own. If he left tomorrow, fans would follow him without hesitation. The brand knows this, and HYBE knows it too. That's why the stakes are higher than they have ever been. The situation has grown into a silent war. HYBE is racing to keep Jungkook tethered with opportunities only they can provide, while the brand is waiting for the perfect moment to strike with an offer too good to refuse. In the middle of it all stands Jungkook, fully aware of his power, fully aware of the choices before him, and perhaps silently questioning what his future should look like. What makes this battle so emotional is that it is not just about contracts and corporations, it is about identity. For Jungkook, the question is no longer about how much he can achieve within HYBE, but about who he wants to become outside of it. For HYBE, the question is no longer how to grow as a company, but how to survive if the star that defines them decides to walk away. And for the brands circling him, the question is not whether they can afford him, but whether they can seize the moment before HYBE tightens its grip too much. The tension is almost cinematic. On one side, a powerful corporation fighting desperately to keep its crown jewel. On the other, a global brand determined to steal him away. And in the center, a man whose every move is watched by millions, knowing that his decision will reshape not just his own career, but the balance of power in the entertainment industry itself. This is why HYBE's emergency plan matters so much. It is not just a strategy to retain an artist, it is a battle for survival, reputation, and control. And the longer this battle drags on, the clearer it becomes that HYBE is not fighting from a position of strength. They are fighting from fear. Fear of losing Jungkook. Fear of losing their dominance. Fear of facing a future where the most powerful figure they ever created decides to stand on his own.